I want to dive into the 49ers, and I know we continue to talk wide receiver, but Michael's got a great question that leads us into our next topic of conversation here. Brandon Aiyuk said on TikTok, they don't want me anymore. Does this open up a trade more? How does he raise the Steelers' bar like one more playoff win? So just to dive into a little deeper of what is going on with Brandon Aiyuk and the San Francisco 49ers yesterday, he went on TikTok or posted a TikTok of him on FaceTime with Washington Commanders quarterback Jayden Daniels, and he came out saying, I'm laughing, but I'm crying for real. They said they don't want me back. James Daniels goes, that's it. And he said, I swear. That was the video, sparked all of the reactions from everybody. I got some speculation. I'm not going to lie. We could dive into what it means for the Pittsburgh Steelers and if it does open up or reopen a door for a potential trade, but I don't know if I believe that Brandon Aiyuk is out here really talking with the 49ers and them saying, I don't want you anymore, because there has been no indication of that up until this point. To be totally honest, Brandon Aiyuk makes me very nervous, and Brandon Aiyuk makes me very nervous if he showed up in Pittsburgh, because Brandon Aiyuk seems to be a lot of drama, man, cause a lot of issues with this social media. And that is not what the Pittsburgh Steelers want, nor is it what the Pittsburgh Steelers can have right now as they try to move past some things that have kind of rendered some downfall in the last couple of seasons. I mean, there's reports coming out that Deontay Johnson got moved because of immaturity. Obviously, the George Pickens stuff that happened all year last year. You went out and you got Russell Wilson, who's a true leader, to try and add some veteran leadership. You got rid of your offensive coordinator and brought in an offensive coordinator who is as hard-nosed as they come to try and improve the morale within this group. Brandon Aiyuk, man, I don't know if the 49ers said anything. I don't know when this video was recorded, but I got a hard time believing that he was sitting in a room saying, oh, yeah, we're still negotiating. And the 49ers said, no, we're done. And then he just posted it on social media. It seems like it's more drama than not, kind of a social media negotiation tactic, which is just part of the NFL these days, sadly. And I don't know. I don't know if it opens the door, because quite honestly, I don't believe that this went down the way that Aiyuk says it went down, and I'm skeptical as to whether or not there is trade conversations, or if he's just using this to kind of leverage some more leeway in his side of things, because he wants a deal getting done. Your thoughts?
It was interesting that immediately after this broke, Ian Rappaport's like, he says this, they do want him back. It just might not be at the level that Brandon Aiyuk wants it. And, somebody, Mario just said in the comment section, it's a contract dispute. And sometimes people want to negotiate in different ways. And sometimes maybe Aiyuk's like, maybe this will help, curry favor in my direction in this negotiation, because this has been a long and winding road all off season long. If this is another chapter in this story, but also at the same time, it feels like it's a desperation move if it indeed is what you're saying. And if that's the case, then it just feels like he's not getting the number he wants. And that scares me a little bit, not just because of what the actual, intent of the video was, but it scares me as to what does he want as far as a number, because that might just be too much for the Steelers to handle.
Yeah, there's no way that the number is where the Steelers want it to be. I mean, we have talked about this endlessly, is that if you are looking for $30 million a season, the Pittsburgh Steelers are not looking to pay you. It's just not happening. And at some point, there was something in play, because Michael Lombardi said that during the NFL draft, there was a deal that was believed to be done, and then it wasn't done. And you have to believe that somewhere in those conversations, the Pittsburgh Steelers believed that they had a number that worked with Brandon Aiyuk and what was going on there. What was that number? How close was it to 26, or how close was it to 32? Because that's a massive difference. That's a whole player. Like, that's another wide receiver. That's part of a Justin Fields contract. That's so many things. You have to imagine that it had to be closer to 30 and that they were somewhat comfortable with it, because if Aiyuk's pulling all this and saying, you're going to pay me a boatload of money, I'm not going to take $26 million, I'm going to cause all these issues. The Steelers were not sitting around saying, oh, well, we'll give you 28, and him being like, yep, nope, that sounds great. Because at that point, just sign the 26 in San Francisco and rework some stuff so that you make some more money. I don't know. I got a hard time believing any of this at this point. I think where I stand on the situation is Brandon Ayuk is just kind of causing some drama and making this a bunch of nonsense. And this kind of seems like the roller coaster. Like this is the peak, this is the Kyler Murray deleting everything and everybody thinking he's out. This is that. This is where it hits the breaking point. Everybody's freaking out. Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. He's gone. And then next thing you know, he signs a massive deal. That's where I kind of feel like we're getting to is the part of this roller coaster ride where he fools everybody. And I don't know what his objective was. I guess it would work out if he gets a contract because that would have been his objective. But it just feels like we're at the tipping point of a massive deal is going to come because we think it's over. And I don't know. I don't think the Steelers are as in the running as we may want to think that they are. Everybody wants to say that he's the perfect fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I agree. I think him and George Pickens would be massive. I'm not a big fan of the wide receiver group, and I don't think anybody who is sitting at practice believes that the Pittsburgh Steelers have a wide receiver too. I think they have options, but I don't think that they have one. And I think it's, even if you find one, it's nowhere near Brandon Ayuk. It's not even close. So I don't know. I have a hard time sitting here believing that it's going to happen, but at the same time, I'm not in those negotiation rooms. I don't know what's going on with Brandon Ayuk and the Pittsburgh Steelers and the San Francisco 49ers. Do you believe that I might be talking out of my butt here? You think that I'm looking at this the wrong way? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, yeah, he's a fit. Obviously, he's a fit. Anybody with that much talent is a fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers on the field. But even if there wasn't anything drama, whatever, take that out of the conversation, because as we know, Mike Tomlin is the great equalizer in whatever drama there could be in most situations. $30 million, even if it's just 30 and not anything more than that, $30 million eats away at what you can pay a quarterback in the coming years. It eats away at what you can pay TJ whenever his contract is up, what you can pay George Pickens when his contract is up. Eventually, you're going to have to pay a running back, right? You're going to have to keep a running back in town, whether that's a decent-sized deal for Najee or whether that's re-signing a Jaylen Warren, who's going to make more and more money as time goes on because he's only gotten better. $30 million for a wide receiver is a lot. And at the end of the day, whenever I look at the situation now, we've talked every side of this situation for 3 months, it seems now. The Steelers need a wide receiver 2. Ayuk's a wide receiver 1. And while the talent is great, that also comes with wide receiver 1 money and what could potentially be a wide receiver 1 trade package, because there's going to be interest from other teams that's going to drive that price up.
Yep. That's the other big part of this is the Steelers aren't giving up a first-round pick, and they're nuts to give up a first-round pick. They're nuts. They're just other options, and they have to find them, obviously, but what if your quarterback situation doesn't work out and you don't have a first-round pick? What are you doing? Where are you sitting here? You're just going, well, we'll find somebody in the second round. That's not going to work out. That's not what you want. Then you're in the Tennessee Titans boat where you're just hoping that you get a Will Levis. The Steelers need a first-round pick. They're not going to give one up. They're not going to give up $30 million. It just doesn't seem to be realistic from where we stand. And I just want to address this because this is Marjo. I appreciate you, but we're always pro player on this podcast. Always been pro player on this podcast. And I hope Brandon Ayuk gets paid a boatload of money. I'm just speaking. I don't believe it's going to happen in Pittsburgh. I just don't think it's going to happen in Pittsburgh. Everybody wants to keep talking about it. And I heard, I was told, and I will stand by this. I was told months ago, I would have been surprised. Somebody in that building told me I would be surprised if it didn't happen. It didn't happen. They were surprised. That's where we stand. I don't think that it's going to happen. I think that they will land a wide receiver, and at some point we'll dive into some options. But for right now, I don't think it's going to be Brandon Ayuk, not unless that price tag drops pretty significantly over the next month or two.